Hi, I'm Lyle Stevick, and this is the second video in my series on how to make a 3D printed hand drum. This video is for the ring that compresses the drum head. I'm doing it second because it only has one polar array and one Boolean operation. You'll notice in my new design, the holes are vertical. In my old design, the holes were horizontal. The weak point of carbon fiber filament is that the carbon fiber does not cross the layer boundary. So a tensile stress in between the layer boundary, which this design has, can cause the part to fail. At first, I thought I could just make the part thicker, but on second thought, I decided to redesign it entirely with no tensile stress on the part. Now I'm ready to draw the ring that compresses the drum head. So I go into FreeCAD, I make sure that I'm in the part design workbench, and I start a new file. I click on sketch and I draw in the XZ plane. So the first thing I want to do is draw a line and set that line as 106.5 millimeters from the Z-axis. And also set the length of the line. Now, I'm going to draw the fit test first here, and then change 2 dimensions to make it into the ring. So there's my first fit test measurement. That is for what goes along the outside of the ring of the drum head. So I've got the 106.5 millimeters, and then it comes in to 98 millimeters. And these are radiuses. And the 98 just almost touches the drum head. And I actually want these measurements to be within a millimeter. So now I've drawn a polyline to go along the outside here, and of course it gives me an error message when I draw along the axis because it automatically gives it a horizontal constraint. Then I delete that, and now I set that as 2 millimeters wide, and then that part is 2 millimeters high. And then when I specify that as 98 millimeters from the Z-axis, then it becomes a fully constrained sketch. So I have to make sure and highlight it, and then go over and highlight the Z-axis. So once I set that as 98 millimeters, it becomes a fully constrained sketch, and I'm ready to close that, going to Task and Revolution. So that's the fit test that's ready to be saved, turned into an STL file, and then printed. And like I said, I want that to be within a millimeter, fitting that drum head. And once it fits that nicely, then I'll use most of the same measurements there, and I'll make that into the ring. So I change that 2 millimeter height into the height of the ring, and then the 2 millimeter width there into the bottom width of the ring. And once again, that is fully constrained and ready to be revolved around the Z-axis. Now, the next thing I'm going to want to do is put the holes in the ring for the rope to go up and down through. So to do that, I'm going to go into the part workbench. Oh, wait, I wanted to do one more thing. Add a that chamfer. Now I could have drawn a diagonal on the sketch, but I wanted to go straight from the fit test to the ring, so instead I decided to chamfer that one edge. And I put a 6mm chamfer on that. So now I go into the part workbench and I create a cylinder. And I want that cylinder to, let's see, I want it to have a diameter of 10mm, so I'm going to give it a radius of 5mm, a height of 30mm, and then I'm going to move it over on the x-axis to actually be on the ring. So I'm going to put that at x at 114mm, and then I'm going to lower it so I can make sure that it goes through the bottom of the ring. So I'm going to set the z at -5. Now I'm going to take a close look at this and make sure that it's where I want it. Make sure it goes through both sides. And since the ring is thinnest on the bottom, I'm going to look at the bottom and look really closely and make sure it's centered. And it is. So now I'm ready to go into the draft workbench and turn that one cylinder into an evenly spaced polar array of 48 cylinders. Now the reason I'm going to use 48 is because this drum is going to have 12 eye bolts, and each eye bolt is going to have the string go up and down twice. So there will be 48 holes. So I go into polar array, and when I move the cursor across to type in 48, you'll notice that all those numbers underneath changed, and I have to reset all those to 0, otherwise it'll give me something really strange. So once I set those all at 0 and I hit OK, there I have my polar array, 48 cylinders. So now I'm going to want to go into the part workbench and do a Boolean operation to cut the ring with the cylinders. So once I go in there, first I left click on the ring, then I shift and left click on the array, and then I press cut, and there you have it. Take a look at it to make sure it's what I want, and then save the FreeCAD file, and then export the file as an STL file. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and my next video will be for the drum body bottom.